You have a question. You have a question. You have a question. I have an answer. I have an answer. I have an Ask me anything.
Hello, all, and welcome back to Ask James. I am James, SpillitBoyTV. It's good to see you all. Listen, you know what we do here. This is where we come down. You guys send in letters letters and emails alike that actually have situations or questions that you want me to weigh in on. And this is actually what I do. I read them here and I will unapologetically be me, and I will dig into what the situation is, tell you what it is that I will do. When there's advice that I feel like I am qualified to give, I'll give things. There's certain things I will not touch, and I'll just be very honest. That's the whole thing is you're basically, Ask James is a place where you get authentic James. I give you the best of what I have to give, period. It's real simple. Real simple. So let's get to this letter today. Okay. So it goes a little bit like this. Hey, James. I love your channel, and I hope you continue to thrive. Thank you, babe. Please help me understand this. So me and my husband have been married for 5 years. Initially, we were long distance, and there were times when he would hang out with his co-workers, male and female, totally okay. They seemed supportive initially, but one particular one called him up one day and asked why she hadn't heard from him, etc. I felt like, well, he isn't your man, so why should you hear from him on a regular? They still work together at the time. While I understand that this was his crew before me, he didn't really bring me into the fold like I had hoped. Sure, I met them all and on a few occasions hung out, but because I was out of state, it wasn't that often. It's been years since, but recently my husband asked if I was okay with him going to a reunion with the old co-workers that they were having. He didn't say, let's go, or do you want to come, but can he go? My response was, so spouses aren't invited? Many are now married and sure about that one girl. He said he'd have to see. Oh, James, he begun to backtrack like a mother. Suddenly, it's, I meant us. I didn't mean to not include you, etc. I'm so in my feelings and hurt. Backstory. There were times in the past where he would go hang out and I'd be with the baby at home. But come to find out, the other people would bring their significant others. This made me feel like he didn't want me around or he was ashamed of me. I've asked him, but it's a no. I'm beautiful to me, and while I've picked up some uncomfortable pounds, I'm working on myself. I still don't feel that's a reason not to bring me around. Could he be embarrassed? Okay, see, you trying to work me. You trying to work me today. There's a lot of stuff here, and a lot of the stuff is you. A lot of this stuff is internal. A lot of this is internal. Now, I'm going to start with this, though. Okay? Let me start with this. There is a little voice that you have. It's a little voice. And that's your woman's intuition. If your woman's intuition, because you know I don't have that. I got a little speck of discernment that I got, but I ain't got no woman's intuition. That's a whole thing that is special for you all, my females. You have a thing inside of you as a woman that makes you react and makes you feel a certain type of way about certain things. And it's just natural. I'm going to say, always follow that. Always follow it. Always be aware of it, because that little voice inside you does not lead you wrong. Now, I'm going to jump on you here, though, because I heard some things that you said that flagged that you feel some type of way about you. The thing about the weight, picking up the weight. We all know that it's a natural thing. You've had a baby, time has gone on, and all these different things. And then you're wondering, is he embarrassed by the weight that you picked up? See, if you hadn't even added that line in, I probably would have skimmed over it and been like, oh, okay. But when you actually added in, your last thing you said to me was, could he be embarrassed? The question is, are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed? Because you already told me that you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable with this weight. When you wrote in here and these parentheses, I'm working on myself. Baby, are you embarrassed by the weight that you've gained? And you're working on it. So I'm going to say, what have you been embarrassed for? Embarrassed about what? And you need to work yourself out of that, because you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. There's a lot of different reasons that we gain weight. Again, you got a baby. Having a baby, your body doesn't always, everybody don't have that snatchback gene where they just jump right back into their jeans when they have a baby. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're a mother now. Okay? You're somebody's mother. That affords you a couple extra pounds, and who gonna say something? Somebody say something to you about a couple extra pounds that you got that's hanging on from you having a baby, you tell them to write me a letter, because I'll have something to say to them. You point them my way. I'll take care of them. But are you embarrassed? Because can't nobody work on that but you. Okay? So I'm going to say, major thing here, always pay attention to your women's intuition. Like with the little stuff with the little female up in there. I don't really feel like anything's really going on. But then again, I have just your side of the story and not the whole story. I wasn't there. But I'm going to ask, do you trust him? Did you trust him then? Did you trust him more when the beginning of the relationship started? When that happened? That little situation when the girl asked the question, did you trust him back then? Do you trust him as much now as you did back then? Has something happened that leads you to say, maybe I shouldn't trust him? And as far as I threw it back at you, because you said you've been out, even when y'all were traveling back and forth, you've been out a few times with the group of friends and everything was cool, but you weren't brought into the group the way you had wished you would be brought into the group. What was that about? What was that about? Do you really not gel with the group? Because there's really no issue with that. Everybody don't mesh well together. One of the hardest things in the world is to mesh two sets of friends together, even when it's the spouse. So is it a bad thing that he have a friendship with them that you're not really a part of? Not really. Not in my eyes, because y'all still have, y'all are still individuals. You're still individuals. And you don't have to do everything together. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't do everything together. It's very easy to become tired of each other. So, again, it goes back to, do you trust him? Do you trust him? Do you trust him to actually have a group of friends that you're not a part of? So it all really does fall back to you and how you feel about your husband. And what is your husband's behaviors like? Is his behavior questionable when he's around those people? What is it about those people that raises your shoulders? Or are you putting 20 on 10? See how we're all over the place? We're all over the place with this because this is all over the place. This is all over the place. But there's some things in here that just kind of stuck up. And they were little, and I don't want to say insecurities, but just little spaces where you aren't so sure about you and it seems like your connection. And I don't think there's really anything to it. I don't see a problem at all with a couple each having separate friends. And in a group of friends, there are males and there are females. But what are you not saying? Is he one of those males? See, because there are males who don't know how to act around other females. So, no. Males like that, no, I would never okay you to be with somebody that would potentially make you act inappropriately. But just having a group of friends that were already there, and then you come in and maybe you didn't mesh completely with the group of friends. But see, all of this could really be cleared up. Sit down and talk. And I mean really talk. Sit down and tell him, listen, we get ready to talk. For real. And talk. Open the door to talk to where we're going to say what we need to say, and somebody's feelings might actually be hurt, but then we'll work on that. And I would talk to him. I would really ask, do I not gel well? Do you not feel comfortable? Because that might be it. He may not feel comfortable. And that's the thing is, you may feel like you're gelling with the friends when you're with them. And he may be completely uncomfortable because it just don't seem like they're gelling with you or that you're gelling well with them. And in turn, that would make him completely uncomfortable. Did you ever think about that? So you got to give all that some thought. But a conversation will fix all that. Just a conversation, less the bull. Less the bull. Let's sit down and talk. Are your friends really feeling me? Are you more comfortable when I'm not around? Do you feel like I hinder your good time when you're with your friends? Now, don't ask the question, sister, if you're not ready for the question. Now, the back pedal, I didn't like the back pedal. You know, I don't like no BP and PP. I do not like that. I don't like that. So the whole, you ask for permission to go, but then it's, oh, well, let me check and see. No, that stuck up too. I was like, what? Let me check and see if it's, first of all, a reunion of friends and they're bringing their spouses. If some of the other spouses weren't part of the friends group, if they didn't marry within the friends group, then there's some bull crap. Then it's something deeper. And that's where the conversation needs to come. Do I make you uncomfortable? Is it something that I'm doing that makes you uncomfortable when we are in the group of friends? And maybe it'll open your eyes to something, and then maybe you'll have a choice to make. Do you love them enough to let them go have fun without you? And you should. You married them. You married them. So just, I think, have a conversation. I think during the conversation, he's your husband. He's not a stranger. He's your husband. But be open enough. Be open enough to if you find out that maybe you make him uncomfortable. You know, maybe he can't party the way he wants to party without being uncomfortable trying to mesh his two worlds together. Love him enough to let the man go have fun. Because you would want him to do the same thing with you. Would you really want him to go out to lunch with your girlfriends? Could you really relax and have a good time with your girlfriends? Everybody has a set of friends that the two sets don't mesh together. So that's love each other enough to have a conversation. Had a conversation. I'm not going to tell you don't take personally the things that are said, but I don't think anything here is a deal breaker. From what you wrote, sounds more like you start with you, and I promise you'll come up on the right side. Start with you, and you'll come up on the right side. Yeah, I feel like if you start with you and working on you, because you're working on yourself. So just get comfortable. Just get comfortable and know that you're good. You're good. You're good. But that would be my first question before we do any of this other stuff. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed about the weight and stuff? And then once you get past that, if you still feel like that might be a thing, ask him. Because nobody can answer that question for him but him. Ask him and then pay attention. Because he's probably not going to give you, from what you said about him backpedaling, he probably won't give you a straight answer. Like, he probably won't answer it very fast. He'll probably try to get his footing before he say the wrong thing. But watch him. But I would ask him. I wouldn't be walking around trying to figure out whether or not he's embarrassed by me. I married you. I married you. And you definitely owe me that. If I'm embarrassing you, you need to say, yeah, something about you is embarrassing me, so we could actually fix it. So we could fix it. And not that, him being embarrassed, not that issue wouldn't, because that would be an issue that kind of lied with him. But again, it needs to be fixed. It ain't going to fix itself. So anyway, I said all of that to say this. Conversation. Open dialogue. True, live, married couple dialogue. And at this point, you don't need a counselor to do it. Sit down and talk. Sit down and talk. And then go from there. Go from there. All right. Thank you so much for writing in. I appreciate it. I hope this helps. I do. I hope it helps. And any one of you who wants to write in and have me weigh in on a situation or possibly throw out a suggestion of advice, listen, you can send me a letter to my P.O. Box, which is James Colwell, P.O. Box 99432. That is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15233. Or you can actually email me at SpillitBoy@gmail.com. In your email, put in the subject line, "Hey James," in capitals, so it will stick out and I'll get it, and maybe your letter will end up on the show. Hey, look, it's been a blast as usual. Hope that what I had to say didn't hurt, but helps. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time.
Ask me anything. Anything at all. I got the answers. Open your mouth. Say what's on your mind. Anything at all. Open your mouth. Say what's on your mind.